So, yep, like I said, welcome for April's community meetup. We have a great agenda today. We have Meltano here to present. We have Alex, who's going to be doing data assistance. And then we'll have a little something for cloud, for Great Expectations Cloud afterwards. So I'll jump right into, oh yeah, we're hiring. The slide's going to probably stay up forever. We're just constantly hiring. Keep an eye on the jobs board for some really cool positions. Some quick community stats. So since the last event, we've grown about 400 members. Our PyPy downloads continue to go up. Compared to last month, it was over 180,000. Hit an all-time high of 200,000 a day, which is amazing. And then let's see what else we have here. Some thanks and kudos to contributors. So thanks to Douglas Cook, Joseph McLean. Getting a little bit of feedback noise from someone. They could check their background. Yeah, so thanks. Michael Thomas, Jay Stammers, and then Taylor Turner, who's actually going to be presenting next month about this contribution for the data profiler package, which is up on the expectation gallery, worth checking out. Some changes to our top Slack supporters. Some new people have come in and answered a ton of questions in Slack. So thanks to David Maxon and Veronica Moy and Daniel Burendia Gonzalez and Dave Ruger. I don't know how to say. This is always where I get caught. is on this part of the presentation. But thanks again to everyone who's in there helping out in Slack. It really means a lot. And then quickly for me, I just want to talk about the hackathon real quick. The hackathon is done. It went really well. We added 178 expectations. There were over 300 signups, though it really was a small core of people that went crazy on adding these expectations. Some of the awards that came out beyond, most of the awards were on volume for each specific package. But for the specific awards, Andy Jessen's expectation for ICD category, Mohammed's for expect values let long to be on land or sea or land or ocean, and then Limwan for their stock market expectations, which includes some cryptocurrencies as well. So yeah, go check those out. I think some of them are in the gallery. If they're not in there now, they'll be by the end of the week. But yeah, thanks to everyone for the hackathon, whoever participated, and look for the next one. So I'll pass off to Don.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. I'll present an update to the product roadmap. Like last month, anchoring our roadmap in our aspirations for great expectations, and that is powerful and expressive. After years of development and widespread adoption by data practitioners, the core APIs are robust, stable, and thoroughly tested, and it's easy to get started. So how does that map to what we're doing? In Q1, we made investments in documentation, and we added clear guidance on developing new expectations, which was showcased in the hackathon that Kyle just mentioned. And with the V15 release, we introduced standards for identifying deprecated code, which helps Great Expectations as a platform just be more transparent and predictable in terms of how it's evolving. And we dropped support for Python 3.6. So we did this by looking at usage data that showed that a very, very small number of users were still using the latest version of GE with 3.6. And so we felt both safe and confident that we could drop support for 3.6 with very minimal impact. So we did that. Then into the next slide. In this quarter, we're looking at it being easier to get started through data assistance, through new data connectors, and opinionated guidance on how to use certain platforms. We published the GCP stuff back in February. First reaction from the community on this call then was like, when's AWS coming? So it's on the map. It's part of the plan for what Kyle's team is going to be delivering in Q2. In terms of making it powerful and expressive, we're looking at batch metrics to be able to do multi-batch expectations and new use cases. We also have conditional and cross-table expectations planned for the next quarter. And then, we're building out test suites for integration partners. We're publishing coding standards. Those have been up for review internally now for a couple of months. So it's time to get them out in the public, particularly being a product with a large set of community contributors. I think being very transparent about how we're thinking about the code base and the standards that we apply and how we evolve it is important. We've been doing a ton of work on type hints to make it easier to develop and use great expectations. And we included very recently mechanisms in our build process to ensure that we don't slip back on any of this stuff. So we're verifying that, hey, the number of methods that don't have type hints today, that number is fixed and is only going to go down over time. So new contributions without type hints will kind of trigger a build failure with feedback on how it can be fixed. And then over time, we'll take the number of methods, like with every check-in, we'll try to reduce the number of methods in which we're missing type hints. We're doing better dependency management and rely on usage stats to reason about what version of dependencies that are declared as required for GE people are using in their environments. So we can look at how we version up those dependencies. And we're making some big changes, and like we're going to be redoing our API docs. This is an effort that Rachel is driving, and we're adding checks again to the code base to ensure that like doc strings are present on methods, and ratcheting that up as well, so that with every new check-in, if a method is added without a doc string, it would trigger a build notification for failure there. And we're doing that internally, and it's the same build process that's used externally. So anyone contributing will kind of be held to this new standard, so that with every contribution, we're leaving the campground cleaner than we found it, and continuing to make all of GE better. The V15 release shipped April 7th, retired Python 3.6 support. It had clear deprecation warnings. I'm super proud of this work in that, like, the warnings include when the code was deprecated, what the new method is of doing the same thing, and how to migrate there. And a lot of times it's a very easy, like a one-line change to use the new method, because it's there's an equivalent. And then we also include when the deprecated code will be removed, with the idea of retaining support for any deprecated code for what we would consider two minor versions. And so in the V16 release, that'll be the first time where we can remove some of the code that was deprecated as part of V13. We continue to expand the capabilities of profilers and data assistants. So that was introduced in V15, and then through the course of this release, it'll continue to get better. And apart from upgrading Python version, there were no breaking changes with this release. And moving forward, having no breaking changes is a guiding principle for us to help ensure that GE for you is stable and reliable. Last slide on this section. So for V16, this is shipping in summer of 2022. This is significant because those deprecation warnings say like code will be removed as of V16. So understanding when that's coming is significant there. And in addition to what will be at that point, new work on the profiler and the data assistants, the V16 will be marked by introducing metric storage and new data connectors. I think for the data connectors, connecting to data is a core part of GE, and we will be maintaining the current versions of data connectors for the foreseeable future. So these new versions will be kind of a new way of being able to connect to data, but it'll make it way easier to address batches, which will make it much more, you'll be able to reason about past metrics in ways that are challenging today. And so that's why the data connectors and the metric storage are bound together. It has to do with the new data connectors making it easier to address past batches. So both of these changes are additive and non-breaking. And then with V16, that will provide us the opportunity to start removing and retiring support for code that was deprecated in V13 or earlier. And again, those are called out clearly in those deprecation warnings. So you'll see it if you're using methods that won't be supported come V16. And that's it.